In some of the few immediately following scenes, you will see someone who does not understand what our founding fathers had in mind with Article 1, Section 8 of our U.S. Constitution as it relates to coins and currency. You be the judge in terms of whether us citizens want to continue down the path of following this person from either party who sometimes disguises him or herself as a leader who we may incorrectly vote for if we are not careful. Afterwards, I will further show why that person and group of people should not be allowed to be the ones deciding our future here in our great nation. You gotta understand, two of my role models are Forrest Gump and Gomer Pyle. Tears came into my eyes when I heard about when Forrest was asked by the fisherman St. Peter at the pearly gates.
Who do you think God is?
Andy.
Why do you think God's name is Andy?
Sure. I was in church once and I heard the most beautiful singing. Andy walks with me. Andy talks with me.
That CIA person had no business calling attention to how prostitution, counterfeiting, and organized crime is closely intertwined. Understaffing and underpay is always a problem. Why did past Congresses and presidents take away my half penny and fractional notes? I'm a nice person.
Don't ask him, just take his word for it.
All of our 32 washers here have or are committed to accept dollar and quarter coins. Unless you ignore potential carpal tunnel repetitive injury, putting it in 3 times with a dollar coin versus quarter, putting it in 12, or in some cases where it's a really big washer for a laundromat owner, it could be as many as $12. We'll multiply that by 4, and you can just see what the impediment and the reality is. Okay. Anyway, the 4 times the quantity and 3 times the weight factor. Okay. Inflation has already had a very serious impact, negative impact, with the quarter-only usage. Keep in mind that a clean clothes, health-conscious, responsible customer is often burdened with the needed task of clothes washing for many in their family, which can easily mean more than 20 machine starts in one washing session. As you can see, the property valued Goldie coin is a quality of life issue for both the customer and the small business owner. The coin boxes for emptying, this fills up real quick, quarters. It's not practical anymore. At one time it was. Okay.
Okay, hey, I'm Big Slim, Si Hollis, and I don't, in case anyone wants to know, and I've been shopping and using this facility for about 7 years, and I actually enjoy having the dollar tokens. I find them to be Actually time saving and convenient. And a lot of times I'm here and I got a $20 bill. Well, I'm only going to do about $6 or $7 worth of laundry. It's helpful that I get a few of those dollar tokens as opposed to a crap load of quarters in my pocket. I found that to be very helpful.
And the nice thing too is that they're more than just tokens. They're actually can be used anywhere. They're
Well, sure.
so you're not
actually
stuck with a bunch of extra ones.
Yeah, I've actually sometimes I'll put them in my change thing in my car, and then whenever I go to McDonald's or whatever, there they are. So they're, you know, it's not like I'm getting something that can only be used here. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say about it. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye,
Seeing the suggestion box here, I am reminded of between being with our customers and having them share their suggestions both in writing and verbally. And I have to say, my better customers have been a great source of worthwhile information over the years. There is a joy in having the mutual bringing out the best in each other by sharing worthwhile ideas. I hope you viewers do understand that you are being privileged to be looking at the world's most user-friendly self-service dog wash. In a recent book, 5 Nobel Prize-winning economists state that we need a minimum of 4% worthwhile and proper better value growth of GDP instead of the current less than 2% growth to properly sustain our U.S. economy and therefore solve, or at least do as much as possible to correct the serious deficit problem. We have heard all about how complicated the deficit debt correction is from some so-called leaders. I suppose if half of their time is spent telling and figuring out distortions of basic truths, well, such as our founding fathers, what they have presented for us, we should be following more closely. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? When I was growing up back in the 60s, when our country was also in a state of crisis, like we are now, there happened to be 2 opposite of each other songs. One was the eve of destruction, and the other was the dawn of correction. Allow me to tell you, the song that I preferred was, and I still very much prefer, is the dawn of correction. I would also like to thank the bank officer who discouraged me from trying to get too big for my britches from an unwise debt loan request. This clearly made it more likely that my competition could also make a living, and there would not be a local version of a too big to fail scenario. Over the years, there have been well over 100 independent contractors and other firms who during their more lean years found non-government related work with our humble business. When I see leaders being out of mind, out of sight, and out of touch to what our founding fathers had in mind with our coinage, I know from experience that the impact of tens and even hundreds of thousands of businesses similar to ours is much more far-reaching than just our own livelihoods. The tens and even hundreds of millions of customers across this country should also be mentioned. The deficit debt correction needs to be about growing the economy by growing small business. Too heavy of a dependency on proprietary pay options with proprietary software, even where it is not practical, has negative economic consequences.